Start with cards on James Dean's murderous possessed vehicle. So for those of you who don't know, James Dean raced cars on the side, and he had this beautiful Porsche, silver Porsche. And he was on his way to a race, and the car spun out of control, crashed, and he died. Now, what's really weird is when they were transporting the car back to wherever it was going to go, I might have been sold in an auction, but they were transporting the car, and the truck driver, thank you, Connie, the truck driver blew out a tire. The Porsche falls out of wherever it's you know, being stored. As the truck driver gets out to examine the tire, the Porsche comes back off the truck, backs over the truck driver, and kills him. So then they take the car and they have it on display somewhere. Out of nowhere, yes, really, out of nowhere, the car collapses on someone's leg and shatters their entire leg. So then, get this, they take the car apart. It is like Christine. They take the car apart and they sell it for parts. I know, I love The Crow too. Oh my God, it can't rain all the time. Can't rain all the time. Oh, Jean Harlow is one of my favorites. God bless her. That might have been the ice maker, but we'll see. I just heard a click though. So the transmission or some piece, some internal piece, I think it's transmission, might have been the engine, but some part of it gets sold. And the guy puts it in his car. I have not read on Brittany Murphy. They put the transmission in another car. That guy is racing the car with the James Dean transmission in it, gets into a fiery wreck and dies. They take the tires. So the tires thing was probably before it was on tour. But anyway, somebody got the tires from James Dean's car. They put the tires on their car. They're driving the car, and both the tires blew out at the same time, and that guy almost died. Your screen just went black. Did anybody else's screen go black? So I'm going to read on what's up with this car. Nope. Okay, it's just you, love. Ooh, I'm getting chills. Dean was meant to die young. Did I say that at Halloween? I can't remember what I said. He was meant to die young. I bet it is weird typing with nails again. He was meant to die young. He was meant to. And he wanted to, he knew, that man knew, somewhere in there he knew. Show me the car. We drink until the tooth stops hurting. That is what's going on here. That's the plan. I'm already a little tipsy. I have hardly had any of it. I'm already a little tipsy. There's some part of him that wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. You know, now I get the sense he was actually bisexual, but he liked men more than he liked women, like considerably more. I'm looking at the car here. The devil's on the car. Wow. Interesting cards here. There's foul play with this car. There's foul play with this car. There's something weird about this car. Show me the car. It was bad. It's totally, oh, and by the way, P.S., the car eventually just disappeared. Literally, like, it was supposed to be transported somewhere and it just disappeared. Damn, this is going to be a hot one. This is going to be a hot one. Yeah, show me James. Hi, Bernice. Hello. Yeah, nobody knows what happened to the car. Nobody knows where the car went. And I'm looking at the energy of the car, and it's really weird. It's really weird. It almost is like it's cursed. And then, you know, these cards are very bizarre. I mean, they're very weird cards. They're weird cards. They're just strange. Like, something's not quite right here kind of a thing. I feel like... Was it Dean that was cursed? No. He was meant to die. That much I get very clearly. He was meant to die when he died. Oh yeah, Jim Morrison is... I can feel that energy. I can feel that energy just kind of hanging out there. All right, we'll see. Huh, we'll see. But the car didn't actually become cursed until after he died in it. So there was some energy that was hanging around. There was some, like, that energy stayed with it. It was eventually taken apart, yeah. But they had it, somebody bought it, it was on display, so they took out the parts of it. You know what I mean? They took out the wheels, they took out the parts, the body was still there. And somebody had bought the car apparently, and from its way from the West Coast to the East Coast, it just disappeared. But I guess they took out, you know, the inside, the engine and stuff, because nobody was going to drive it. This is what I have picked up. Yeah, it didn't become cursed until he died in California. I want to say he died in Central California. Pretty sure. It was Central California. He was on his way to a race. Yeah, it became cursed after he died. The energy of the crash stayed with that car. It's weird. It's almost like it's a time loop. It's almost like it's a time loop. And the energy stayed with the car. And so the car just said, every time something, you know, every time I'm moved or driven, I will crash. Like I'm built to crash. I'm built to crash. Not built to kill people, but built to crash. It's just an energy loop. I can see it really clearly. It's an energy loop that went on, like, over and over and over again. We're talking about Heath Ledger. There's something about, so he's showing me that he's a sweet guy. God, this guy is a sweet guy. I'm gonna cry. He's a really sweet guy. He's a very sweet guy. They're not, they're not under his name because and he thought he was taking something else, or it was different milligrams. I see him, he was very down. He was at a very low point in his life. He was a down point in his life, but that had nothing to do with the accidental overdose. Absolutely nothing at all. Nothing at all. But he was low. See, I like to be careful with this. That's why I like to read on really old-timey people, because, I mean, this man has a family, he has a daughter, and I always think, putting myself in their shoes, like, what if I came across some stranger who says, you know, I'm a psychic and I'm reading on your dead father for entertainment? You know, I'd lose my shit. So I'm careful about it. I don't like to read on people in the here and now, but this man's energy is so sweet. Like, oh God, oh gross, oh God, I just got the grossest, oh my God, oh God. Okay, do you want to know? What are you children up to? Auntie wants to know. Oh, Johnny Cash in June. Oh my God, yes, I'm doing that. I'm doing that right now. I do have wind chimes. Yes, those are my wind chimes you're definitely hearing. Oh my God, Johnny Cash in June. Wow. I'll get to Natalie. I did James Dean. I got to do Natalie. look at Sal Mineo, but that's sort of tragic, so I'm not going to. Johnny and June were full-on fucking twin flames. This was a soul, beyond soulmates. Soulmates beyond soulmates. That's real. That's legit. That's legit. The love is enormous. Wow. Oh my God. The love is absolutely enormous. And they didn't always treat each other well. They didn't always treat each other well. They weren't always good to each other. And that was just part of their thing. Like, it was almost like, I'll fuck you over, you fuck me over, but I love you. Like, they couldn't get away from it. I'm looking at Johnny. He comes through very clearly. June is a little bit more reticent. But that woman gave as good as she got. Yeah, I do want to look at Vivian and Clark. So I think we're going to kind of go down the line here. I don't want to look at anything too dark. I'm too open for it. I don't want to do it. I'm too open for it. It's too gnarly. So, yeah, she comes through kind of back a little bit. So he's coming through very, very forceful, very present, very alive. She's coming through as a little bit more pulled back, a little bit, not cold or by any means, but just kind of like she's sort of quiet. She's giving me quiet, polite, not sweet. I would never call her sweet, but she didn't have this larger than life thing that he had. And she was very content to let him have that. She didn't want, she knew that wasn't her and that wasn't going to be her, and she was fine with that. She, oh, wow. She's telling me she fell in love at first sight. At first, they're both talking. They're both talking. She's saying, yeah, love at first sight the minute she saw him, and she was married at the time, I believe. And she was like, it was it. I knew that was it. I knew that was it. I knew I was a goner. I knew it was him. I knew it, and I fought it, and I fought. Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash is who were on Warrior Witch. She said, I tried to fight it and fight it and fight it. She says, I knew he was no good, but she's saying it with a smile. And he's going like, yeah, I was no good. He's like, yeah, no, she was right. I was no good. But he's giving me like this charming smile. She's telling me, she goes, he wasn't really good looking, but he could charm you like he was. Like he could make you think he was with his charm. You know what I mean? She's saying, I fell for him hook, line, and sinker. And he was cute too. She's saying he was cute too. Yeah, he was cute. And then she's saying, she said, I was no beauty. She's saying I wasn't no beauty. I believe she's saying it that way. But he made me believe I was. He made me believe I was. And when he looked at me, I believed him. But she's telling me we had our problems, we had our ups and downs. She's saying, I gave as good as I got. Don't think I didn't. You know, if he ran around on me, I ran around on him. Like, she's like, she said, nobody cut corners here. Nobody cut corners. It was tit for tat. And she's saying that's why they got along so well. She's funny because she doesn't really want to say the word shit, but she's like, I wouldn't take his shit. And he wouldn't take mine. But we both shoveled plenty of shit. This is pretty funny. She's funny. She's a funny lady. He's not stuck in the Viper room. He's not stuck there. He's definitely moved on, but there's a weird energy in that Viper room that has to do with his passing. That kind of repeats itself, that sort of recycles itself. Yeah, okay, so he's telling me Mayer was a racist. He's telling me Mankiewicz was a racist. He's telling me that John Wayne was a racist. Reagan, racist. Always a racist. He's saying Reagan, always a racist. Ooh. He's telling me Joan would sleep with anything. Literally, this is what this man just told me. Joan would sleep, he's talking about Crawford. She would sleep with anything. So I guess not a racist. But vicious. He's telling me vicious. She was absolutely vicious. Click again. Okay, husband bot is gone. So that's the kitchen. He's telling me most of the women were not really racist. He's saying Betty Davis was actually progressive. Very progressive. Although it looks like she had kind of a come to Jesus meeting here, because I don't think she was always progressive. But he's telling me Mayer was absolutely racist. He's telling me Selznick wasn't racist. Oh, no. Okay, so he's saying Selznick didn't think he was racist, okay? He didn't think, he's saying he didn't think he was racist, but he was kind of racist. Like, he's going, yeah, a little racist. He's telling me Victor Fleming, who directed most of Gone with the Wind, George Cukor directed. I know a lot, so. He's telling me Fleming was not a racist, but he said that he talked to everybody equally the same. You were black, white, didn't matter. Talked to you the same. He's also telling me that there were a lot of actors in Hollywood who passed, whether they were Latin or they were black. He's telling me a lot of people passed, and he goes, there are people that people knew, people had lists. He's telling me this. People knew, and this is not as prevalent as Johnny and June, but he's still giving me tea. He's still definitely giving me information. But he's saying a lot of people passed, and he said there were people that kept lists that knew that they were passing. People were blackmailed. He's showing me blackmail. He's showing me people were blackmailed. And they paid money. He's telling me they paid money to keep it quiet. He's also telling me that a lot of people paid money to keep it quiet when they were, well, he's saying having certain affairs. So this man was also, for all of his manly shit, he did not give a shit if people were gay. He did not care. Because he's showing me a couple of guys, actors, who were, Night Rita, who were paying. They were paying to have these affairs with other men kept quiet. He's telling me Spencer Tracy paid to keep an affair quiet. That's got to be Hepburn, right? Right? Do I need snacks? No, I don't usually eat after dinner. It's kind of a habit of mine. I like to do a little bit of fasting. Yeah, so it's got to be Hepburn, because he's telling me there are other people that paid to, he's telling me people paid to keep things quiet. It looks to me like James Dean, he's showing me paid to keep things quiet. Cary Grant paid to keep things quiet. He's telling me Myron. Is there a Myron Selznick? Because he's telling me that Myron paid to keep things quiet. Myron? Is there a Myron? Yeah, well, okay, so Spencer, so it might not be Hepburn. It might be also some affairs with, you know, if Spencer was bisexual. He's showing me, no, I wasn't. But he didn't give a shit. This man did not care. He was very live and let live. Very much live and let live. But he said Mayer was notoriously racist. He's telling me this. Okay, Myron paid to keep stuff private because Myron was gay. Yeah, notoriously racist. He's telling me a lot of the studio heads were racist. He's telling me everybody knew about Chaplin's young girls. He's telling me that. And nobody paid to keep that quiet. He said Chaplin didn't give a shit. And he liked him young, like 16, 15, young. Not quote unquote too young, but you know, not younger than that, but he liked the early, you know, mid-teenage type. And nobody gave a shit. He's telling me Joan Blondell had lesbian affairs and paid to keep stuff quiet. He's telling, Dolores Del Rio, who the fuck is that? Well, she had to pay to keep stuff quiet. He's telling me that. So many people paid. So many people paid. He never had to pay. Not even with Loretta. He never had to pay. Like, he never paid for this. So many people were, like, blackmailed. He's telling me, okay, now this is interesting. He's telling me Hedda Hopper was actually blackmailing people. No shit. I swear to Christ. I'm trying to get back to Gone with the Wind, but we sort of got segued into this, like, let's name names here. Gable's naming names. Yeah, she's a real piece of shit. She really was. So back on the set, we're back, Gone with the Wind. Again, he's giving me this, like, it was just this go, 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 go. He did not like the atmosphere. He said it's not a good atmosphere to work in. He liked working with Victor Fleming. Fleming was exhausted because he had just gotten off Wizard of Oz. He was exhausted. Click. The man was exhausted. And he's telling me he shouldn't have directed the picture. He shouldn't have directed the picture. He's saying that a lot of people are saying, you know, they said Gable wanted Fleming, and he goes, no, he said he was my friend. He was exhausted. Hedda Hopper was a gossip columnist in old Hollywood. I want to say she was there when there was the murder on Orson Welles. Was it Orson Welles, right? Marion Davies, and there was a murder on the boat. I want to say Hedda Hopper was there. You got to see Charlie Chaplin the day he was knighted. Wow. I don't know if he was a horrible person. I mean, honestly, I feel like these days, they were not that far off from the 1800s where it was perfectly normal for a 45-year-old man to marry a 15-year-old girl. I straight up, like, I mean, that was normalized back then, you know? So, you know, I don't want to give him a pass. I mean, the man, I don't think Chaplin, I don't, just sitting here being psychic, I don't think he was a rapist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would do something to someone against their will, blah, 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 blah. I think he liked him really young, and I think that's fucking gross, and especially in this day and age, it was fucking gross. But you have to understand, for him, it wasn't as gross as it is for us. It may not have been gross at all. I couldn't say, but, you know, that was routine. They would have young girls marry these older men routinely. Willingly sometimes. You know, it was normalized for them. Oh, I'm 15, I'm going to marry a 40-year-old. Yep, that's normal. That's perfect. But anyway, so they, yeah, he said Victor was exhausted. Shouldn't have done the picture, but did the picture. He did a fine job. He's telling me I wasn't on set that much. He's saying I wasn't, was it Hearst? It was Hearst, not Orson Welles. It was Hearst. She was shocked. Okay, so this is funny because she's showing me, okay, that there was buzz that she was actually going to win the Oscar. So there was buzz around it. She was like, people kept telling me I was going to win. And I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. And then finally, she was like, finally, I believed it. And then I won. Like, she didn't believe it for the longest time. She was like, whatever. She felt immense pride in being in the greatest movie. She's telling me the greatest movie ever made. That's what she's telling me. So this is like different time. I mean, obviously it's a different time, but she's saying it was the greatest movie ever made, and I had a key role in that, and there is immense pride in that. Immense pride in that. And then she's the first Black woman on top of it to win an award for it. She felt nothing but pride. This woman felt nothing but pride for the job that she did, for the role, for winning the award, for being in the movie. She has nothing but pride. There is no, she is like a slayer, this lady. Like, she will fuck you up. She's like, I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked, and that's what I did. And I earned my living. She's telling me she was very well paid, highly paid actress. That's what she's telling me for a Black actress. And she's also telling me, you know, if I was younger, if I was thinner, if I looked different, I could have had different roles. So she's also saying it's not just the color of my skin that, you know, locked me into these roles, but because of, you know, she wasn't this tiny little young thing. She says that's part of why I got the roles that I got, which she's like, that's life. You know, she's kind of giving me a whatever, que sera thing. But I don't get the sense that she had misgivings. She's very pragmatic, this woman. So she was kind of like, it was what it was. She, you know, these people are actually, I will say that most of them of this era, they're giving me like, it was what it was. And she's kind of giving me the same thing. It was what it was. She's a very good actress. And she was able to pick up what Vivien Leigh and Clark Gable threw down and run with it. And she's telling me this. Like, she is telling me this. How does she feel about Queen Latifah playing her in the next show in Hollywood? Good question. Okay, no. She's like, no. She's giving me a no. She's like, no. She says she doesn't look enough like her. She's kind of like, no. She also is telling me, she's like, you know, I could have been a legend. I could have been a real legend. She's kind of giving me that. She's telling me, Kirsten, the opportunities just weren't there. They just weren't there at my time. Like, if it was a different time, you don't know what I could have done. You don't know what I could have been. The opportunities just weren't there. But if they were there, she has, and here's what I love about this, about all three of these people. Gable and Vivien Leigh and Hattie, is they really believed in their own skills. And she's the same deal. She's like, I killed that. I nailed that. I'm a killer fucking actress. And he goes, and he said, okay, so this is beautiful. He says, listen, I want you guys, he's talking to you guys. He says, I don't want you to worry about me. He's gonna make me cry. I knew he was gonna make me fucking cry. He says, I don't want you to worry about me. I'm fine. He goes, he's laughing again. He says, I'm happy. He says, we are better off than you are. He goes, there's no Trump over here. He likes to make the jokes. There's no Trump over here. But seriously, he says, I don't want you to worry about me. He goes, I felt the collective heartbreak when I exited. He's saying exited, which is weird. He says, I felt that. Kirsten, I felt it. And he goes, I didn't realize I was letting so many people down. And then he goes, but once I crossed over, I realized I didn't let anybody down. He goes, I'm still here. I'm still doing my work. I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And he's telling me what I did and what I accomplished lives on. He's saying, please don't worry about me. He says, focus on my work. Bye.